Okay, good morning. Let's get started. I'm sorry, I went to make the Facebook page live and it took me out of the meeting. So I'm back. Good morning. My name is Farah Marks. I'm Vice President for Institutional Advancement here at Randolph. And I thank all of you all for joining us today for our first virtual event of our WITA Strong Day here at the college. As all of you know, it's Earth Day. And Karin just let me know that it's the 50th anniversary of Earth Day, which I didn't know. So as you all know, the college has a long history of environmental sustainability. We're excited to have Karin Warren join us this morning. She's the Herzog Family Chair of Environmental Studies and Chair of the Environmental Studies Department. She's going to talk to us today about climate resilience work at Randolph and how the COVID-19 epidemic is giving us insights about transitioning to a sustainable economy and dealing with climate change. I have a few housekeeping things before we get started. To reduce background noise, everyone will be muted, please, just to make things go a little smoother. If you'd like to ask Karin a question, if you would please use the chat feature, that should be in the toolbox at the bottom of your Zoom screen. And Karin will answer as many questions as she's able and as time permits. So thank you again for joining us, and I'm happy to introduce Karin Warren.
Good morning, everyone. I'm so happy. Oh, I see a few more folks jumping on the call. I'm excited to see that some of my alums from environmental studies and science are joining us too. Some of you are getting some shout outs. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen because I've got some images I'd like you to see. Not those, my kids there. Just one moment. Okay. So when I was asked to do this live stream and asked to give a presentation about environmental studies and science, I thought the thing I'd be most excited to share with you all is the efforts that Randolph has been making, not just this year, but over several years to help take action on climate change and also to help build community resilience, not just at Randolph, but in our region. And one reason I love sharing this is because all of this work would not be possible without collaboration from a lot of stakeholders in the community, and most especially with the input of students over the years, including some of the ones who have joined us on the call today, which really thrills me. So, as Farah mentioned, today is the 50th anniversary of Earth Day, which is really exciting. And also, Ralph Northam in Virginia just recently did an official certificate of recognition for the 50th anniversary of Earth Day, which is really great. So 50 years of celebrating the Earth every year and advocating for improved environmental quality. And that, of course, means taking a global perspective now as well. So what I'd like to do is to talk a little bit about what climate resilience means, the efforts that we're making at Randolph, and then I would be delighted to take any questions that anyone has or issues that you think that we should be doing as well. And if you have suggestions or ideas for things we can do at Randolph, we'd love to hear that. Okay, so we have a pretty good sustainability at Randolph webpage on the college website where you can read more about the efforts that we're carrying on, but we've got a long history, a couple of decades of being really proactive on environmental issues at Randolph. We've had a campus-wide sustainability council since 2000. That was started by Professor Emeritus Rick Barnes. And ever since 2011, we've had a sustainability coordinator. And I've been thrilled because all of our sustainability coordinators so far have been environmental science honors graduates. Our first one was Ludovic Lemaitre, who we're thrilled to still have at Randolph, now working for institutional advancement. All of you are very lucky over there to have him. And then after that, Sarah Woodward, and currently Allison Brooks, who's our Sustainability and Special Projects Coordinator. And Allison's going to be live streaming later, and I'm not going to steal her thunder. She's going to tell you about a lot of the on-campus efforts, particularly related to grounds that we're doing, and gardening and other commitments we're involved in. I'm going to focus on climate change. Our first sustainability plan was developed in collaboration with student researchers, one of whom is here today. Okay, Megan Roberts was one of those students, and also Ludwig Lemaitre and Carl Sakis, class of 2010. In a summer research project, they helped us develop our first sustainability plan and also helped us be one of the first campuses to prototype the sustainability tracking and rating system. We did that back in 2009 as well. Randolph was also the first bee campus, which doesn't mean you have to have honeybees, although we do. We have 2 hives, and Allison will be telling you about those. It means that you're committed to pollinator health in your community, and we certainly are, and Allison will tell you more about that. Also, we're a tree campus. The Princeton Review has denoted Randolph as one of the 50 greenest colleges. We've got the Bee Ecocentric campaign that's been going on for a few years, and we have an organic garden and an orchard and an apiary and a bike share and a rummage room and a green fund and pollinator gardens, and also 2 students this year who've been developing a campus nature program focused on supporting student mental health on campus. We're hoping to launch that this fall. And the key with all of these efforts, and the second 2 that I'm going to focus on, is that all of this is possible because Randolph is a small college. We couldn't get all this done without the collaboration of students, student researchers, many of whom who have gone on to wonderful careers where they're learning all of these skills. Okay. In 2006, I'm delighted that Ginger is on the call today because she chose to sign Randolph on to be the first college in Virginia to sign the carbon commitment back in 2006. And that a few years ago, Brad signed us on to the climate resilience commitment. So with regards to climate change, what we're talking about is not natural changes in climate, because those are always happening. We're talking about human influence on increasing greenhouse gases that absorb Earth's radiation and lead to warming over time. And we have decades of evidence. Okay, Earth Day is 50 years old, but over that same period of time, especially the last few decades, we have an increasing mounting evidence that human activities are shifting climate in a manner that's going to be harmful for human society. And we want to get out ahead of it and take action both to reduce the causes and to prepare for some of the changes that are coming. So in the United States, we've had the federal government issues every few years a national climate assessment. The most recent one came out in 2017, and then an economic impact assessment in 2018. And so when you look at the National Climate Assessment, which another student research project with Arnav Upadhyay, who graduated last year, he and I did summer research a few years ago to comb through the National Climate Assessment and figure out what should we be preparing for in our region, in Lynchburg. Okay. Now, this is coming from the 4th National Climate Assessment, which is produced by a number of federal agencies in collaboration. And when you comb through it, for our region, these are the things that we have to start preparing for. I mean, even as we also try to mitigate climate change, we also want to be dealing with impacts that are going to be happening. And the more prepared we are, hopefully the lesser the impact will be on us in every way, financially, and with respect to our community. So we're looking at increased heat-related deaths, rising electricity costs, inland flooding. We're not coastal, so we don't worry directly about coastal sea level rise, but indirectly that will affect us because we're part of the Commonwealth. We have flooding and power outages, wind damage, and impacts on crops. Now, of course, Randolph isn't a community in and unto itself. It's connected to our larger community. So in this summer research project, we also looked at what some of the what we could do in Lynchburg. So here's, with regards to the climate commitments, this is administered out of a nonprofit organization called Second Nature. And the President's Climate Leadership Commitments refers to presidents of colleges and universities. So first, Ginger Warden signed us on to that in 2006, and then Brad Bateman signed us on to this additional commitment. So the carbon commitment focuses on Randolph reducing its contribution to the problem. So reducing our emissions of greenhouse gases, increasing our carbon sinks. And we've had a lot of progress in that arena. And at the end, I'll talk about how you can check out our plans online. It's all publicly available on the Second Nature website. Resilience is a bit different. Okay. Now, in terms of where we are, we've had a climate plan for over 10 years. We've assessed it once, and we're in the process of reworking it now. And with regards to the resilience commitment, we're about 3 years into it. What resilience means is a resilient community can absorb impacts and adapt to change. Okay, when some sort of disaster or crisis hits, it can recover and it can move forward. So when you sign the resilience commitment, our first step was that we had to coordinate with our community to actively support a campus community task force. So at Randolph, the way we do all of this work is we always think about how can we turn this into a learning opportunity for our students? How can our students help contribute to this research effort? So what we did is we collaborated with the University of Lynchburg, and 2 years ago, we hosted a community resilience forum on campus, and we brought together stakeholders from all around the region. We had stakeholders from the other educational institutions, from the City of Lynchburg, the Planning Commission, the Central Virginia Planning District Commission, health institutions, and so forth. And we all came together, and students from the University of Lynchburg, there's one that you see here, did some research presentations. And our students, and here's one of our recent graduates, that's Tyra Cobb Davis, who was just featured on the Randolph page about her work that she's been doing since graduation. But she and other students served as note takers and scribes at our community forum. We had breakout sessions. The students were compiling notes and composed white paper summaries afterwards of that. And you can see here Sarah Woodward, she was our coordinator at the time, who was helping to lead the workshop along with Rick Barnes, Laura Henry Stone from University of Lynchburg, and me. So what we got out of that is we got an initial assessment of what did the community stakeholders feel were our region's strengths and vulnerabilities with regards to forthcoming climate change. And also we determined that we needed a group after that to carry on the work to make sure we were coordinating efforts. So a group of us created the Lynchburg Regional Community Resilience Coalition. We nickname it LRIC, Lynchburg Regional Community Resilience Coalition. And we meet every few months. COVID has thrown a bit of a wrench into that. We're going to meet virtually next month. And we usually meet on campus at Randolph to do this. We have stakeholders from around, and our job is to coordinate activities that everyone's doing. We have folks who are in charge of the hazard mitigation plan update. We have folks who are overseeing the removal of College Lake Dam at the University of Lynchburg. We have people who are sustainability professional consultants who are part of Resilient Virginia. We have one of our members is part of Many Voices, One Community, very much focused on poverty alleviation and social justice in the community. And the key is all the projects that go on to advance climate resilience, we're always looking for ways to integrate student internships and research opportunities. So I want to tell you about a couple of recent ones. One, in order to comply with the resilience commitment, Randolph needed to conduct a campus community resilience assessment and then put together a resilience plan. And instead of having several separate plans, we are putting everything together into one giant plan, our sustainability plan. So last spring, here's the Energy and Society class. Now, about 2/3 of those students have since graduated and gone on to exciting things. And then 5 of them in here are our current seniors who are going to be graduating. Okay, and this class did our initial campus community resilience assessment, not just a campus resilience assessment, but for our community as well. And they used a tool from Second Nature called the Resilience Dimension tool, where they assessed resilience in 5 different dimensions: financial, health and well-being, social equity and governance, infrastructure, and ecosystem services. And then they presented their work at the Symposium of Artists and Scholars last year. And that's what you're seeing. They had just finished up their presentations and they were very happy. So we were mugging a bit for the camera. Okay, now the second picture here is a class from last semester. This is the climate dynamics class, and what they did is they took the work that this class had done and they started to develop Randolph's resilience plan. And that's where we are now. This semester, this spring, we have Allison and I are working with the Sustainability Council. And I should give a shout out to the Sustainability Council. It's a volunteer committee composed of staff, faculty, and students. And some of the staff are particularly devoted to the Sustainability Council and contribute a great deal to it. We have representatives from across campus who help us advance our sustainability efforts. Also, the Sustainability Principles and Practice class, and Megan Roberts was one of our guest speakers this semester talking about the work she's doing at Abbott. I'm so glad that Megan's on the call today. What this class is doing is they're looking at the City of Lynchburg's comprehensive plan, and each student has taken responsibility for one of the chapters, and they're looking at the community resilience assessment and suggesting specific goals that can be inserted into the comprehensive plan. And our goal ultimately is to present that to the Planning Commission for their consideration. So our goal then, we've got lots of different plans. We have to have a pollinator habitat plan for bee campus. We have to have a plan for tree campus. We have to have a climate carbon action plan. We have to have a resilience plan. We have a lot of other sustainability efforts that have to all be coordinated into one. And the other thing that we've been doing is looking at Randolph's academic strategic plan and making sure it's all coordinated with our sustainability plan, because a lot of the goals in the academic strategic plan, for example, the goal about increasing diversity, that is recognized as a key part of increasing our community resilience as well. So we're coordinating the whole thing into one integrated plan, and that is what we are doing this semester. And when we're finished, we hope to present it to the Board of Trustees for their consideration and to help understand how we're integrating all our goals together. So that is the sort of presentation part, and I would be delighted to take any questions you have about anything I've discussed about climate change, student research projects. Every student you see here, this is all efforts that are done on campus. There's our pollinator garden, and you'll see Allison out live streaming from that later today. It's looking beautiful, by the way, and we're going to be adding to it. Here's up at the organic garden. This is Maria Bode, who graduated last year. She helped start the Randolph College Rummage Room. She helped us get a grant from PepsiCo to start that, and we just got a renewal of the grant this year to expand our rummage room. This is Haley Nguyen, who helped start our reusable container program in the dining hall through a summer research project several years ago. And then here's our bike share program, and that was started back in 2008 through a student initiative. They wrote a proposal to student government, and we've had bike share ever since, and a work study that maintains and looks after the bikes. So I'd be happy to talk to you about any of those initiatives or our climate initiatives. I also wanted to share with you what I'm doing in my classes this semester. Every single class is thinking about the impacts of the pandemic on sustainability and environmental studies and science. In one class, in quantitative methods, they're going ahead and they're estimating how much the Great Pause is affecting US carbon emissions and US energy use, and so forth. The Sustainability Principles and Practice class is reading a number of thought pieces, and they're responding to some of these questions here. So these are reflection prompts for the Sustainability Principles and Practice class that I also thought that we could use for discussion if anyone has some comments or questions they'd like to add here. So I'd be delighted to take questions. I think I should be able to see the chat. So if you'd like to ask me any questions, please go ahead. Well, one thing that we've discussed in class a lot is that the great pause, you know, the pause that has to be put on economic and societal activities. Oh, wait, someone's got a question? Oh, wait, I can see the chat is active. Let me take a look then. Oh, Mimansh is here too. Oh, I'm so excited about that. I love when my wonderful alums join in on things.
It's going to stay that way, they say, until May.
Okay, so let's see.
The temperature is low, the wind is.
Oh, okay. So if you're all seeing the chat, you're seeing my shared screen. You can see that there's a great suggestion from Mimancha Joshi. Okay, Mimancha Joshi graduated in 2013, and she is now working. I think her job title is as a sustainability professional and greenhouse gas professional. Mimancha, correct me if I don't have your title correctly, but she suggests a cloth swapping event. It's fun and adds another angle to sustainability. Embrace slow fashion. Oh, I'm so happy to hear this suggestion, because we had thought about expanding our rummage room to have a rummage and repair room. So we were hoping to eventually, some universities and colleges that have design programs like fashion design and sewing machines have some days where they'll have repair workshops. So you can bring clothing and other things that are in need of repair, and you can repair them or you can repurpose them. Like you can turn a pair of jeans into a bag or something. So I love that suggestion, Mamancha. We're going to be looking into that possibility. And we had, last year we had a Memer Sauce visited campus, and this is someone who upcycles old clothing and makes it into other things. So we were hoping to do some of that as well. Once we expand the rummage room a little bit and have some more space, we'd love to get a sewing machine and be able to have it, be able to sign out to students who want to do some repairs, and maybe even have some workshops on how to do basic repairs, you know, how to do some basic mending and so forth. Okay, it looks like there's a question from Meg.
Yes.
Please,
Should I ask this on chat, or should I go ahead and just ask it now?
I think we can all hear you, so go ahead.
Oh, okay, great. I'm just wondering how this wonderful work that you're doing can also be integrated with political science so that students can make the leap from these issues that they are learning about in great detail to evaluation of candidates.
Yes. Well, for one thing, since environmental studies and science is so interdisciplinary, in our curriculum, there is a lot of policy. And we don't have a standalone environmental policy class. We used to, but we actually took all of the content and inserted it into other classes. So students learn about energy policy in our energy class. They learn about water policy in our water class. They learn about climate policy in several classes. So they get all the policy, but it's integrated around a central issue. But the other thing that we've done is that our political science department, some of our classes have appeared as electives there, or we also encourage students in poli-sci to take some of our classes for that very reason. And I think our colleagues in political science have appreciated doing that. One of our newest colleague there also is particularly interested in nuclear policy and energy policy. So that's something, and in terms of evaluating candidates, we did have, last year, we had one of our poli-sci professors, Professor Vincent Becerra, had led a session on evaluating the candidates from various points of view. And we also had, we were posting information about what their environmental scorecards are. So if that's the issue that matters to a voter, you could evaluate them based on not only what they're proposing, but also how their voting record has stood up in the past.
This call may be monitored or recorded.
Yes. So, so that's something we very much support, and looking forward to how our curriculum might evolve. We're looking at having some more minor programs that might also pull some of these things. And the other thing that we try to encourage is students who are interning with organizations that are politically active. So for example, the League of Conservation Voters and the Southern Environmental Law Center and others, so that students who want to take action, who are politically motivated, can do that. The other thing, I'm so disappointed this got canceled because of COVID, but we were partnering with the Rachel Carson Council to participate in Capitol Hill Days. So the Sustainability Principles and Practice class, we're supposed to go to DC to be able to meet with lawmakers on Capitol Hill and talk specifically about climate and environmental issues. We were all set and ready to do that. It would have been an overnight trip. We were so excited, but then the pandemic hit. So I rearranged my curriculum and we're talking about the pandemic instead. So I see there's also Justin Smith. Yay. Justin's also a graduate of our program. And let's see, stormwater. Yes, that's the maintaining stormwater is something that's a key part of our sustainability plan. And about 10 years ago, when the economic stimulus package came out, Randolph, and actually Megan, you'll remember this because you were a student here and you helped with our design of our initial rain gardens on campus that were funded through the state from the stimulus package. And what we're doing now is that with the renovation of the science building, one thing that we want to make sure to do is that stormwater management and habitat plans are all integrated into that as well as sustainable design principles. So stormwater management on campus, it's definitely something that we're continuing to think about. So yes. And also, Justin, let me take a chance to thank you for every time your company's hiring, you always let me know, and I really appreciate that. And actually, all the alums who've called into this call, Allison and Megan and Mimansha and Justin, all of them have supported students either by being guest speakers or doing informational interviews. And it's one of the things I most love about Randolph, how supportive our alums are. So thank you from me and from Dr. Soika as well. Okay.
Any other questions for Karin?
I think she's the best thing since sliced bread.
Oh,
We think so too.
thank you for that. It's I wouldn't want to be anywhere else but Randolph. Randolph is just the best. It's a fantastic community. I feel so fortunate that I came here while we were Randolph-Macon Women's College as well, because a lot of the things that made us a wonderful women's college are still in the water and in the lifeblood of what we do at Randolph. And I think it would make all of you proud. And my favorite thing about Randolph, and this is something, in February, Allison Brooks and I went to the Higher Education Climate Leadership Summit. We were, Brad Bateman sent us as his representatives, and it's mostly college presidents and CFOs. There aren't too many professors and sustainability coordinators. There were a few there. I will say we were there are some women there, but not quite as many. But there was Allison and I felt a bit like we were crashing it. And one thing that came away from that is that people are recognizing that Randolph is a leader in campus sustainability, and that we're very collaborative, that we're seeking partnerships, not just in our community, but with other colleges across the Commonwealth. Ooh, so something else I can tell you about is that the Virginia Federation of Independent Colleges, this year they've decided to start a research initiative across all of their campuses focused on climate resilience, which is really exciting. So we've had a couple of meetings so far to talk about what our campuses are doing and how we might coordinate. So that's something else, and that's the VFIC schools all focus particularly on undergraduate education and research opportunities. So it really makes me happy that all of these initiatives that I've been talking about, that Allison will talk about, all of them have involved student internships and research and course projects, and many of them have been presented at national conferences or at the Mid-Atlantic Regional Conference for Undergraduate Students, at our Symposium of Artisan Scholars. And I think that's one of the best parts of Randolph's liberal arts education, that you get this practical hands-on experience that lets you take what you're learning in the classroom and apply it to a real-world project. And peeking ahead to next year, our intro environmental science class will continue to do water quality monitoring. This will be our 19th year of doing that. And everybody on this call has helped out with that. Oh, and Megan is jumping off the call, so I'm just waving goodbye to her before she goes. But next year, with the energy and society class, that's an every other year class. What I'm thinking of doing for them, they always do an in-depth group project. And I think we're going to take our community resilience assessment, work with some of our community partners, and particularly try to develop some projects in our community that will promote energy resilience. So I'm really excited about that, to have students work directly on that. I think what they might end up doing is energy assessments for some of our partners who work in nonprofit or in more vulnerable communities, and develop plans and perhaps even try to get some grant support for materials to help retrofit for greater energy efficiency in some homes in vulnerable communities, or in some not-profit headquarters and so forth. So stay tuned for that. We're looking forward to that. And I will give a shout out to our grants coordinator, Emily Joseph. She's been really active at helping us find grants to apply for. She helped us, she and Allison recently got a renewal of our PepsiCo grant, and we've got a lot of other small grants in the works to try and support this work. So, okay.
Any other questions?
let me encourage you to jump on for Allison Brooks live streaming at 1. She's going to be outside. It's a beautiful day here in Lynchburg, and it's very exciting to hear Allison talk about all the great work that's going on with our garden and our orchard and our pollinator gardens and our low-mow areas and our food forests. So ask her about all that stuff. So
Thank
Karen,
you.
if anyone
Thank
has
you.
any,
It's been great.
great. It's been great to see everyone. And you know how to find me if you have any ideas or questions or follow-ups, or I know you're all really well networked. If opportunities, ideas come up to you that would serve our students, please let me and Sarah Soika know. We love being able to connect students for internships and so forth, and they're a great resource as well.
Great. Thank you, everyone,
Thank
for
you.
joining us. As Karen said, Allison Brooks, our sustainability coordinator, will be with us at 1 o'clock, showing us some things in the organic garden. And thanks for supporting us. Thanks for supporting this programming on Earth Day. And we had 32 participants today. So thank you for being here. And thank you, Karen, for joining us. We appreciate it so much.
It was my pleasure. And now that I've zoomed out the screen and can see everyone who's here, I also wanted to give a shout out to some of my other alums and current students who've joined the call. I'm really thrilled to see that you're here too. So thank you for that. So, and have a great Earth Day, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Proud of you.